Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I am your host, Ichigo.
And I'm your host, Mikan.
Join us this week as we discuss best generation for anime genres. Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. We truly appreciate it. So, this week, we are going to be discussing best and top anime genre. Now, we understand this is a personal preference for everybody.
Sure is.
This is a very personal preference for everybody, okay? My response is not going to be the same as Mikan's, and Mikan's response is obviously not going to be the same as mine. Why? Because both of us have two polar opposites
Yes.
favorite
Very different
genres.
tastes.
Very different tastes. But within this episode, we plan to discuss which anime generation had the best genre, so on and so forth. So let's just dive right
Yeah.
on in. I feel like I should say romance is one of the best anime genres.
Of course.
Shoujo
Of
romance.
course.
However, I don't think I can say that.
Okay. What?
I know. Psh, big surprise, y'all. I don't think I can. And the reason I don't think I can is because for me, I'm romance lovey-dovey type. Like I always gravitate towards romance, like shoujo, slice of life. I will always gravitate towards those.
Yeah.
What I've noticed that I've been doing a lot lately is even though I gravitate to those, I will binge them and will not finish a lot of the ones recently.
Oh, yeah. Like in
Recent
recent
anime.
times.
That's because a lot of them feel predictable. Not saying I'm not enjoying them, don't get me wrong, but they feel predictable. They feel just I don't even know what to say. I don't want to say outdated. They just feel like it's
Mhm.
okay, same old kind of
It's
thing.
been done before. Yeah. Too many
Right.
times. Mhm.
So I want to say for me in this moment right now, my top anime genre is drama.
Okay. Okay.
Anything with drama. I can't go all the way to shonen because that ain't me. But
Mhm.
anything with like drama, like real life experiences, deep conversations, deep
Mhm.
topics, those are the ones that I always
Come back to
gravitate
in a
to.
sense.
Yeah, I always
Mhm.
come back to. So for me,
I
those
see
are
that, yeah.
those are my top. That's my top. What is it called?
Okay.
Seinen. Seinen. Yeah, seinen.
Seinen, like
Seinen.
older, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
interesting. Not what I actually expected because I know you like shoujo. I do have to say, I'm probably in the same pool where I like action, right? I think overall, I mean, fantasy is a huge genre. Like that's encompasses a lot.
Right.
I do think fantasy genre it does really well in, but for me, I have to say, even though I like action, I do think anime in general does adventure well. I think
Mm.
for me, like I would have to say, even though there's a lot of adventure anime that's just not my cup of tea, I
Mm.
think ov to generalize, I do think those have been the best type of anime because with
Mm.
action, I think not until recently has it I don't wanna say the stories have gotten better, but because with action, if the visuals are really good, which in recent years we have seen it get exponentially better, it makes the visual experience so much better. But adventure is truly about
Mm.
storytelling, I think, and when that's done right, it's just I do think it's anime does that really well.
Yeah. I'm
But you know what
surprised that
actually
you didn't say shonen. I'm a little
Yeah,
just ever so
I guess
slightly.
I mean, shonen is, like, typically but shonen's also cliche, like you were saying shoujo. I mean, shonen has
Mm.
a lot of adventure in it,
Mhm.
but I think like, something like, Violet Evergarden or stuff like that does tend to be, like, it is adventure and it's, like, beautifully done.
Right, right.
But actually, what I thought was very fascinating is I think it was on Reddit, I saw this all anime released by genre,
Mhm.
and I was shocked at how I think it starts in, like, the '80s, 90s, and then after that, it explodes. How many comedy series there are. I remember because it's like a bar chart, those bar charts that show you how it gets exponentially smaller and bigger? Once the
Yeah,
'90s hit, like, comedy was the majority of anime, and I think
yeah,
that's because comedy can be in shonen, shoujo, like, all types, but I was really
right.
surprised at how much. I believe, like, once 2000s hit, it was literally comedy and action, but comedy, like, far surpassed everything else.
Yeah, I could see that, and I was actually going to say I wanna say if I remember correctly, the 2000s, there was a lot of comedy that came out, and it could have just been with what was going on at the time,
Mm,
you know? Um, like, in that time period, people probably just needed a laugh,
yeah.
which I feel like if that's the case, that's what we need right now.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But I don't know, I just feel like for me personally, this people could probably also relate to this. Although I do speak Japanese, I grew up in Japanese culture, Japanese comedy specifically just never really hit with me that much.
Mm,
And I think more so it's when they're trying to be funny. Like Gintama, I
ah,
watched so many episodes of Gintama. I tried. I probably will maybe in the future, then here and then, but I just never, because the few serious scenes of Gintama looked incredible. Like, it looked phenomenal, but it's, like, literally 3 episodes, and then the rest is comedy, and
right,
I just couldn't. I think it's because it has a lot of cultural aspects and stuff like that,
right,
but even the ones I understood, it was very slapstick, and I just couldn't get into it, um, because I do think with comedy, I think particularly Americans, um, they like more of, like, storytelling comedy, like
yeah,
comedy shows and stuff like that. I think
right,
the
right,
story and then finally the final punchline, like, kinda hits, and I feel like in Japan, like, they do it, but in anime, like, that's not so much. We're laughing at either the character being stupid or, saying something stupid, like, stuff like that, little jokes here and there.
mhm,
Um, and I don't know, it just never really hits with me. I think I'm more of, like, I prefer this, although I do like my shonen, like, with a little bit, it has to be a little bit lighthearted, you know? Um
right. I feel like Gintama is very similar, like, set up to American cartoons.
Mhm.
Like, not necessarily American cartoons when we were growing up, but a lot of American cartoons now.
Mm.
So, a lot of, like, the gags and jokes or, like, the things of the characters doing stupid things reminds me
Yeah.
of, for example, like, SpongeBob. Like, there's not really a any sort of storytelling with SpongeBob.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
they're just going around doing stupid things, and then you laugh and you feel good, and then on to the next thing.
Yeah.
A lot of especially, like, cartoons nowadays, there are a lot of shows out there now where they're not doing anything. There's no storytelling, there's no seriousness, it's just all the characters running around doing stupid stuff. And that's funny for for this generation. So that makes sense for this generation. And so I feel like Gintama, at least for Japanese culture, might be a little bit more out of pocket. But then again,
Mhm.
it also reminds me of Shin-chan, where
Crayon Shin-chan,
Shin-chan's
yeah.
just going around doing stupid stuff. But there are episodes where it dives a little bit deeper and you have like less comedy, more seriousness, but there's still comedic aspects found within the serious parts, if that
I
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's not too many shows like Gintama.
Yeah.
Like, I can probably count maybe 4 or 5 off the top of my head,
Yeah.
but Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah. For an anime, it's rare. I'll put in air quotes. It's
Like,
rare.
to be fully yeah.
Right.
I feel like more of them fall along, like, the shoujo or the romance, shonen that's a little bit, like, comedic, like
Right.
Dragon Ball, the big 3, stuff like that. It's a
Mhm.
little bit of
Slice of life where you have
mhm,
shows like Wotakoi or School Babysitters
mhm.
or, things like that.
What do you think what would you say okay, let's go for each decade,
Okay.
starting with okay, we've experienced we'll just go with the 90s because 'cause we're 90s babies.
I was about to
From
say we're
90s
90s
on
kids.
yeah. From 90s on, like, what do you think was the best sort of genre in each decade?
Feel like there was 2 main genres in the '90s. Mahou shoujo/fantasy and shonen,
Okay.
because I we saw a lot of, like, Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, all these other magical
Yeah.
girls, and then in turn for the guys, we saw a lot of, like, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, Pokemon, like,
Yeah.
and mind you, they were all fantasy for across all borders, but it was definitely split, like, "This over here for the girls, this over here for the boys."
Yeah. Interesting. I feel like 90s I will agree, I feel Mahou shoujo, I think also a lot of, uh, Gundam type, mecha sort
Mecha,
of,
yeah. Well, I feel like
and
mecha might be more '80s.
yeah, I agree. 80s is probably very strong with mecha,
Mhm.
and then, oh my god, there was one I was gonna say, I forgot. Jeez, maybe it'll come back to me.
Oh, my
But,
bad.
a little bit more, like, youthful, comedic, lighthearted. I feel like
Mm,
90s had a lot of good adventure types.
yeah. I mean, it's still adventure within those 2 main genre, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's an adventure story, a fantasy adventure story with magical girls, or a fantasy adventure
Mhm.
story with, shonen type, the characters they fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then what about 2000s?
2000s for me personally was romance, comedy, obviously across the board, but romance and see, there's probably 3. Romance, Ghibli, which got really big, especially because of Spirited Away, which
Mhm.
was considered Iyashike, which is like calming type anime shows, and maybe action, because
Okay.
then we get shows like we got shows like Full Metal Alchemist, Hunter x Hunter,
Yeah.
Inuyasha. Yeah, those would be my 3: Devil Romance, Iyashike, and action.
Yeah, I agree. I do think I have to give it to like, that was the start of the whole shonen ride that began and exploded. So I do have to give that decade for the original, like, big 3 starting and honestly, not just starting, but, like, really getting big,
Mhm.
like, starting to really gain traction. So, for me, like, that decade is, like, associated with, I would say, action probably, with a little bit of, like, lighthearted action.
Okay.
It's the lighter style.
Right.
And
Right.
then the 2010s, that's when I feel like it goes into seinen, like, straight
Yes.
up. That's when
Yes.
those darker themed action types start coming out and
Mhm.
exploding.
2010s, I would agree with that, as well as slice of life and romance still for me, or harem. We saw a lot of harem come out in the
Oh,
2010s.
yeah, that's
Actually,
true.
let me take that back. Don't hate me. Isekai.
Oh, interesting. I actually feel like isekai, it started, but, like, the 2020 and on, I feel like isekai just popped off like crazy to the extreme. It's
Well,
only been a few years, and I feel like isekai is
I
just
feel,
not that
but
it's good or popular,
yeah,
like, it's just so much.
right, right. But I feel like it started in the 2010s, but it was disguised under, like, harem. So it was like a combination of the 2.
Okay, okay.
If that yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was a combination of the 2. So it was more harem, but
yeah.
they're in an isekai setting.
Mhm. In 2010s. I see. Yeah, because 2010s is also a little bit confusing because that's when, like, JJK and I think I was looking at, the winners for, Anime of the Year, the Crunchyroll award, and I
Oh,
believe,
yeah.
like, since
Mhm.
2010, it's been 90%, I think all of them that won is, like, darker action types,
Right.
and so I feel like those were popular then too. Yeah, 2010s? It might be a mixed bag there, but I really feel like in the last 4 years, like, last 5 years, oh my god, it's already 2025, jeez.
Yep.
The isekais, like, started to go absolutely insane. After
Yeah.
COVID, I was like, "Where are all these isekais coming from?"
Yeah, 2020s is definitely isekai.
And the thing is, I feel like they're just the sheer number of them. It's not like any one of them is super popular or anything. It's just the amount was absolutely insane.
Right. There's a bunch. I mean, they're all great, but
Mm,
too
are
many.
they?
Too
Are
no, no, I'm
are
being
they?
nice. I'm
You
being
being
nice.
nice. Are they
I
great?
am trying to be nice.
I don't know about that.
I don't wanna be nice no more for isekai, look, okay?
It's especially those types of stories are so cliche, that's the thing.
They
I feel like other
are.
genres, romance or whatnot, you can make a bit of a different character and it'll feel a little bit different. Same thing with shonen, like, fantasy, like, all that you can make just it'll feel a lot more different. But
Mhm.
isekai, the concept is
It's
so
all the same.
similar with the harem type, like, oh my god.
It's
I
repetitive.
can't.
It's
I can't.
repetitive,
Yeah.
unnecessarily repetitive. Somebody gets isekai'd by either Truck-kun or
Honestly, Truckun is the winner here because he's
yeah,
been killing
isekai
people
people for
get-go
decades.
since the beginning of time, I feel like.
The last isekai that I actually watched and enjoyed, I can't think of the title, but I know it was, about one of Japan's famous writers who I believe he is supposed to be Osamu Dazai, gets isekai'd,
Oh.
and, he and his lover, just a little trigger warning, he and his lover are supposed to be committing suicide together.
Uh,
Yeah, and before they go through with it, they're in a swamp area. Truck-kun comes out of nowhere.
mm.
Literally, they're in a swamp. There's no road anywhere near them, and Truck-kun just, like, popped out of no it's a comedy, so, like, Truck-kun just pops out of nowhere, takes them both out, and isekais both of them.
Oh my god.
And now he is
That's
on a
hilarious.
quest to find her so that they can finish what they started. Yeah.
Interesting.
It is very different. I was like, "Dang."
Yeah, I don't know, the last one I saw might have been Slime, and I kind of enjoyed that one. It's very cliche and simple, like, it's kinda like a game, leveling up, and
Yeah. That
the
one's
main
still
character is so
ongoing.
overpowered. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still ongoing. That one I will say I also have been enjoying.
It's very
Mushoku
easy to watch. It's like a
Tensei.
background, yeah. It's so easy to just oh, Mushoku Tensei, yeah, that might be also
Mhm.
it's a lot of them are just easy to watch, but some of them are just kind of bad. I can't.
Some of them? There's quite a few of
Okay, yeah,
them. There's quite a
many
few
of
of
them
them.
are
Quite
really
a few.
bad.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I would say for my personal just for me, what
Mhm,
some of my top tier anime hail from Mahou Shoujo, Josei, Seinen, fantasy, and slice of life.
mhm. Yeah, I gotta say, probably seinen, especially in the last few years.
Mm,
Those have been the only anime I have kind of enjoyed, like, because I feel like a lot of them don't categorize as just shonen anymore. They're a little bit more adult themed, which I like. Um, and then of course I do like my action
mm.
and Yeah, probably shonen types. Those have been really the main things I've been watching.
Yeah, yeah. Well, drama is definitely, genre. I said drama. Genre is definitely one of those things where it's like to each is his own.
Oh, yeah.
But, I feel like at some point everybody kind of crosses over. Like I know that there are some people who are probably like, "Oh, I only watch romance, but have seen Jujutsu Kaisen." Or,
Like you.
yeah, me. Or they're like, "Well, I only watch shonen," but then they've seen Sailor Moon, or they've seen, like,
Mhm,
Cardcaptor Sakura or on High School Host Club, and they've
mhm,
enjoyed it. But I actually think it's interesting to think about which genres have actually, because that speaks a lot to us as anime fans, as to say, like, which genre we we as a whole community enjoy watching the most.
mhm.
And, like I said, to each is his own, but I am curious to know, like, what do you guys consider some of your top anime genre? Is it mahou shoujo? Is it shonen? Is it slice of life? Like, what do you guys think is some of your top anime genre? And would you recommend and or watch a show outside of your comfort genre?
I'm also curious to know, is there a genre that you would never touch?
Mecha.
Mecha? Okay. Okay.
I mean, I've seen Gundam with Domonkashu and Tenchi Muyo, because those are considered mecha. Anything outside of that, I'm leaving it alone.
That's actually pretty funny. Oh my god. That was I didn't even think of that, yeah.
And sports, probably. But I mean, I'm willing to watch a sports anime, just
Mhm.
I can't do mecha. What about you?
I can't say never, but I usually don't like the harem type and very slow slice of life, I think.
Yeah, that makes
Those
sense
are
for you.
usually a little bit, yeah. Things that are too slow,
Yeah.
I can't. And I would wanna put isekai, but I feel like I've seen more isekai than those other 2 genres per se.
Mm, yeah. That makes sense. It's very you. But you guys let us know, what is some of your top anime genres? What anime genre are you just, it can stay over in that corner, you not touching it,
Mhm.
you not even looking at it.
Isekai.
If that's the case, then I lie, you missing out on a lot of anime, but
That's true. There's so many.
but
It's
please,
not bad, it's just too many.
yeah, it is, ooh, way too many. But please let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you guys. And once again, this is a final PSA. Final PSA, because it's happening. After this week, we are moving to a bi weekly release schedule. It is now June. So after this episode, you will not hear from us until the week
Next Friday.
after next.
Yes. So we can't sign off with, "We'll see you next week." Okay, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you the week after next.
Mhm.
But we still hope that you guys will rock with us. We thank you all so, so much for your love, your support in this transition. We truly appreciate it. We hope that you guys will be following us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Sekai Podcast, where we do post what episodes that we will be covering for that week. Okay? And thank you guys so much for all your love, all your support. We will catch you guys not next week, but
But the week
the
after.
week after.
Mhm.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.